Hey guys, this is Mike
And Joe,
from Deep Wood Force of Will.
back again. Here
Back
we are.
again. This time, I know we just did Rebirth of Legend. Now it's time for the big set.
A large ADW assault into the demonic world.
Big. So, obviously, this is the third set in Saga Cluster. We've got some interesting new characters, some returning characters who are not that great. We'll get into that in a little bit. So,
Yes, sir.
what do you need to know going into pre-release, going into your unboxings? These are the cards you should be looking for in our minds. As always, this is up to our opinions of how the metagame we think is going to shape out. If there's anything you think you missed, let us know. But
Yep, we have a comment section for that.
we do have a comment section for that. But in the meantime, we'll start off with our number 10 pick, which is...
The lovely big dragon, Atomic Bahamut.
There we go. Yeah! Big boy! So he's fire and 5 for a dragon.
Yep.
As you play this card, you can remove any number of atoms in your graveyard from the game. You may pay 1 less to play this card for each card removed this way. This card gains Swiftness, Flying, Pierce, Precision, First Strike, and Enter. J-Resonators your opponent controls lose all abilities until end of turn. Then this card deals 4,000 damage to each J-Resonator your opponent controls. Players cannot chase to this ability, as long as there are 5 or more atoms with different names in your removed area. Also, casually, he's a 4,000, 4,000.
Casually.
Yeah.
So Mike and I both agree that this card is insanely overrated.
Yep, 100%. We think this card is good. This card is a nice
Yep.
alternate win condition for Violet. But does Violet need it? You'll see in a little bit. We don't think so.
No, it's probably going to be something that you have to, it's going to clamp down on your ability to fight back against Violet, which is the most annoying part of it.
Yep.
Because
once
you're
you
going to
dealt
be
with
like,
yeah.
you're going to be like, okay, great, I'm just going to turn the corner, I'm going to get into that long game against Violet, and it's going to be like, nope, your graveyard's fueled and good game.
Yep. There is a fun FTK you can do with this, with Melgus and one of the red spells that Violet gets, where you can discard any number of atoms, produce the red, and it's a meme and a half.
Yeah, someone might die to it, hopefully not me.
Yeah, someone will definitely die to it, I will say that. I just, there we go. It's not going to be anybody at top tables, I will say that. So, but either way, Bahamut's always a card that you have to keep in the back of your mind whenever you're playing against Violet. She's already a good enough ruler as it is. You already have to deal with her little protect the castle shenanigans. And then if you've broken down the castle, there's a dragon sitting in the foyer, just kind of waiting for you to come in.
And geez, enter along with the swiftness and flying and pierce and whatever. It's just, how do you deal with that? It's just like you just instantly lose the second this card hits the board if 5 atoms are RFG'd.
Yep.
So, nutty card, just kind of slow for what the metagame's shaping up to be, so you probably won't see it that often, but it's going to be kind of heartbreaking when you do get hit by it.
Yep. The card's just a little oppressive, but that's fine.
Yep. So that takes us away from our number 10 pick into number 9.
Number 9, we picked the Paradise of Fallen Angels. Joe, you want to take this one?
Yes, sir. It's blue-black. It's a Demonic World edition, of course. It's got an enter effect of search your deck for any number of fallen angels and or demons with a combined total cost of X or less, and put them into the field where X is the number of demonic worlds with different names you control, then shuffle your deck. So, a big tutor for your fallen angel demons, and there's one really big one in the set that comes to mind.
Yeah, Fallen Angel of Terminus. It was either going to be between Terminus or this card, and we think that this card being here is what would make Terminus good. Fallen Angel of Terminus is a strong card on its own, but
Yeah.
it is not... It wouldn't see as much play as it will see without this card. Paradise is probably one of the best things that you can get off of your Wolfgang Judgment. Provides 2 demonic worlds, so if you have 1 more on the board, you just come into play, get a 3-drop, which is going to be your Terminus, and then you have a ton of board control. You can blow up your opponent's board with Terminus, hold off for the next turn, and then get that win the game trigger on it, which is really going to be probably one of Wolfgang's biggest ways to win the game.
Right. The main thing that it makes this card good is that you don't want to be spending will on cards that aren't demonic worlds if you're trying to go for that terminus condition. So any card that lets you play a demonic world to get the terminus, that's obviously going to be great and really fit that game plan well. And otherwise, there aren't really that many good demonic worlds, unfortunately. There's really only 2 that are worth playing.
Yeah, the rest of them are just kind of one-ups that you pull out of your deck with Wolfgang, so you have the different names, which is honestly kind of cool, not going to lie. I do enjoy the fact that he just kind of tutors things out like that.
Yeah, fun little deck. Don't think it's going to be a tier 1 strategy, but this is how you kind of play it.
Yep.
This is the good stuff.
Since it's probably going to be like a tier 3-ish, tier 2, tier 3 deck, we figured one of the win conditions for the deck should be on this list.
Absolutely.
Moving on to number 8, we got Sparklefish.
Surprise out of nowhere for probably you guys and for us. We didn't think this was going to make the top 10 when we first started making the list.
Until we just started talking and realized, oh, something here. It's Water and Wind for Beast Resonator with Quick Cast. Pretty nice already. Mm-hmm. Enter, you choose one at random. Recover all magic stones you control. Cancel target non-resonator spell. And cancel non-target resonator spell. And it's a 7/7.
Yeah, so 2 drops. In short, 2 drops, 7/7. And if you're playing Olivia or you have the 1-drop, you get to basically a 2-mana. It's basically Kaguya. Let's go with that.
Yeah, it's literally just Kaguya. That can also... the fact that it can recover... I actually misread this card when we were initially putting it on the list. I thought it just recovered 2 stones.
Yeah, so one of the things that pushed Mike over the edge on wanting to put this card on the list is that this is actually a really good tempo tool if you're going into the late game and you didn't have a good thing to cancel throughout the game. You just slam this down towards like the middle of your turn, and you get like a full reset, and you get to go in again. And it's like, oof.
The fact that it's also a beast is really interesting too, because you can give this thing swiftness with Perseus' Call to Action and draw a card off of that. So there is something to be said about that. There's something that you can kind of mesh around with that.
Perseus' Call to Action was already a card that you were going to put in that deck because of the fish, the other fish, Dolly. Yeah.
Dolphins are
also
a fish.
Being a beast. Yeah, dolphins fish. It's not a beast, but it's a dolphin, but it's a beast. But most importantly, you were going to play Call to Action for that card in the first place, so having like a damage option that's also a tempo tool is amazing for that.
Yep. So it's also a really good control tool and kind of helps you with this like strategy that Olivia is kind of leaning towards of Protect the Castle that Joey and I kind of talked about when we were talking about this list. Like, people are thinking, Olivia's going to be okay. She's got a nice tempo tool in Dolly. But honestly, her backside is tough to remove just because Barrier Chant prevents you from getting Boon Raid, prevents you from getting hit with Prominence in Violet decks. There's really not much that answers her effectively.
Yep, and then she has all of these like really niche and strong tools like this fish being a cancel. She has the 1-mana removal. She has 1 will. Board wipes, like there's some oppressive stuff in there as long as you can like establish yourself and then start going.
Yep.
So we wind up saying that like Olivia has something there. It's kind of on the backbone of cards like Sparklefish.
Yeah, it remains to be seen if it's going to be good enough to break into the metagame. But if it is, it's because of stuff like Dolly, Sparklefish, and a lot of her just generally good utility tools.
Yep. Unfortunately, this card does kind of suck if you have to randomize the effects, so there is a little bit of limited options there, which is why it's kind of lower on our list.
Yep, exactly. But
all right,
moving on.
We got Charlotte's Light Transformation Magic. It's a 1-cost chant. It's not bear magic. With a 1 light chant with Quick Cast and Remnant, also reminiscent. Target J Resonator loses all abilities and becomes a 6/6 until end of turn. It doesn't become a 4/4 bear, so I kind of hate this card, but it's still pretty good.
Yep. The fact that it doesn't change the race is a bit of just like a whatever when you're getting the ability to target J/Resonators, which is something the original Bear Magic really struggled with. This card is insanely powerful.
Yeah, the bear thing is just a meme, so like, but this card is obviously an upgrade to it. It is a little bit harder to like do combat tricks over a 6/6 than a 4/4, but 4/4 would obviously take more damage, and the 6/6 is a little bit bigger. All those the tools like Barebow don't work as well.
Yep. But for what it's supposed to do in this format especially, including ways to deal with J rulers that we didn't have previously, like obviously a lot of our smaller resonators are like bigger than a 6/6. We'll say that much. So the fact that this kind of just makes it easier to deal with combat is pretty nice, and also blanking ability is just always going to be good.
Yep. So you'll definitely see this card see play, probably as a splasher though, not as a main tool. We don't think white's very good this set, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate, but whatever. People are going to have fun with it.
Yep. But I guess we can move on to number 7?
Yeah, 6. There we go.
Yes. Moving on to number 6, the Plains of Raging Winds.
Yep, this is a wind and 1 for Demonic World Edition. Enter, you recover up to X magic stones you control, or X is the number of demonic worlds with different names you control.
This is definitely the best demonic world out there.
Easily. Like, this card is just nuts.
Like, your whole entire game plan of just stacking demonic worlds is just like, this is exactly what you want. A 0 mana demonic world that has upside as you go into the late game.
Yep. And the fact that it, this is one of those demonic worlds where a lot of time we were talking about how with Wolfgang you're playing like 1-ofs or 2-ofs that you really don't want to draw into. You want to pull them out with Wolfgang. After you pull out the first planes, you want to draw into plane after plane after plane at that point.
Yep, because then it gives you all the gas that you need to finish the game with Terminus.
Yep. And also, if you drop this card, say you get like Magic Stone of the Six Sages on turn 2, recover your Wolfgang, play this out of your deck with Wolfgang's effect, recover your stones. You got one name, flip Wolfgang, get the Paradise, and then you get the Terminus on board on turn 2, which is scary, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the best you're gonna get out of Wolfgang, and once you're doing mana cheating like that, that's when you start getting really fast games of Force Will that you need to keep up with the top decks.
Yep. Something interesting is that you'll notice a lot of the cards at the top are ways to cheat mana. Because that's always been very strong in a mana-focused game.
And we will keep seeing that.
Yep. But we will not see it with the next card, which with the pointy hat.
Yeah, but this is still a good card nonetheless. It's a 1-drop Resonator Witch. Quick cast with a 1 enter being prevent all damage that would be dealt by target entity until end of turn. And then it has a Seal 4 enter of cancel target activate or automatic ability your opponent controls. Woof. We got Lorite back. A little bit of a harder Lorite to activate because of the Seal 4 text, but still, that's a great effect to have. And
yeah. And the first effect,
automatic ability.
The first effect is no slouch either, honestly. This is the first time we've seen something like this. Most of the time we'll see something like Melfi or Feats Sing that was like target J Resonator, target Resonator. This just says entity, so it stops it from additions, so you can stop the demonic worlds from dealing damage to you too. It's like, there's a lot of good stuff that this thing does just without Seal 4.
Yep, it can target J rulers too, which is a great, important, like, a lot of times when you need an effect like to save you and not be a cancel, like that's exactly what you would want. Just like, okay, that thing stop.
Yeah, done.
Yeah. So being multimodal like this is good, but especially in the early game, having if it was the other way, I think it would be maybe about the same, honestly, because it's just having that prevent effect being early so that you can stave off until the late game is important.
Yep, exactly. And obviously Lorite was busted back in the old days because of how easy it was to access it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that this one's going to be more focused on the control style of the games. Lorite was a little bit more of like a tempo mid-range tool, if we really want to talk about it that way.
Yep.
So
definitely it falls into a category with like cards like Wall of Wind and The World Dreams. Like,
I will say, this is a card that you don't mind seeing against aggro, when Lorite was a card you hated seeing against aggro.
Absolutely. I remember, like, you would draw Lorites against, like, Keurig or something and feel horrible.
Yep. So yeah, Witch with the Pointy Hat's very interesting. We'll see it in sideboards too, because one of the other witches can pull it out. Sideboard too, which is kind of cute. So
yeah. Not sure if we'll see this card particularly in... Well, this card will be in Brad decks, but we're not sure if it will be great because of Brad.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen.
Yep. So.
But still something to think about.
Exactly. And whenever there's a green card that with a cancel ability, there's always some way that somebody can make it work.
Yep. So. Especially when it's tied to how many stones you have, which is, you know, a green identity of ramp.
Exactly. We got a dragon that ramps this set. Unfortunately, it puts into play rested, so it's unusable, but, you know, whatever.
Whatever. But that was our 5th choice. Now we can move on to number 4. There it is. We talked about it earlier.
We did.
The dolphin.
The dolphin.
Alright, so this is Dahlia, Olivia's electric dolphin. Take it away, Mike.
Yes, it's a 1-water Resonator Beast with Barrier as a 400/400, so pretty decent. If you would choose or target randomly, you may choose or target non-randomly instead. You can perform this effect only once per turn. What a mouthful. Enter. Choose one at random. Produce blue. Return up to 1 target non-magic stone, non-J-ruler entity to its owner's hand, or draw a card.
So, So you get a pretty decent 1-drop with the 4/4 barrier. It's a beast, so you get that precise call to action synergy. And when you get the enter, it's either going to be cost 0 now because you paid for the blue that you got, or it recycles itself with the draw card, or it could be tempo with the bounce effect. Like, what's not to like here?
And then, not only that, but you kind of package that all in with the fact that Olivia just gets this thing for free.
Yeah.
Like, you basically pay 0 to get a card that costs 1, and then it produces 1 if you want it to.
Yep.
Mana cheating.
It's good.
Heard good things.
Don't sleep on it.
No. So.
And obviously this card fits really well with Olivia's theme of you need to have these, like, de-randomizing effects, otherwise your cards are kind of trash and don't work.
Yep.
So every single one of these, like, dolphins in her ruler side is very important for that deck, so obviously we have to put this card high, otherwise that whole entire mechanic is just, like, moot.
Something important also about Dahlia is that it looks like, from what I'm reading, obviously if you have a Dahlia and an Olivia, you get her effect to make something choose non-randomly, Dahlia's effect to choose something non-randomly. I'm pretty sure if you have multiple Dahlias, you get multiple layers of that effect as well.
Seems like it.
So chaining the Dahlias also means that every single card you play, you can choose to have it play non-randomly, which is nuts. Absolutely insane.
That's exactly what you need to win the game, because Olivia's cards are pretty good as long as you can make sure they're not random, which is kind of an asterisk when playing Olivia unless you have Dahlias in play. So,
yep.
Good card.
Really good card. We're pretty sure this is, like, even if Olivia isn't tier 1, even if it's like tier 2, this is the card that puts her on the map. 100%.
And also you're probably going to see this dolphin wind up showing up outside of those decks, and if there's any of these choose random effects that are good enough to see play.
Like the fish.
Yeah. Maybe not the fish, because that card needs to pick the right one, but there are a couple of the random ones that it doesn't really matter which one you pick, they're good enough.
Yep.
But this card makes them obviously a lot better.
Yes,
so that was number 4.
Number 3, we have Tiny Violet.
Now we're moving into the the Violet synergy. And Tiny Violet Spicy as a 1-drop fire machine resonator. Got flying. This card gains Violet atomic automation in addition to its other names. Very important so that I can activate the atoms. It has enter, put up to 2 target atom chance from your graveyard into your hand, and has a tap effect to draw a card, then discard a card. Is there anything else that you would have wanted on this card to, like, make Violet good? Like, hello?
If it just like dealt 4,000 damage to your opponent by tapping itself, it probably would have been pretty good in Violet. As it stands, it's about like a step below how good it would be if it had a deal 4,000 effect on it.
Right. Because this card just makes Violet insanely fast.
Yeah.
It gives you the extra once per turn discarding atoms to get your game plan going, and then it also adds back 2 of them, so it's a free fuel. Like, okay.
Yep. If you go like, I was talking to Joey about like this line where you go turn 1, heart talk, get that out of the way, you activate Violet using heart talk, discard the card you'll see later on in the video, draw a card, recover the stone you paid to play the heart talk, tap that, play the Tiny Violet, get that card back, go to the next turn, tap Tiny Violet, discard that card, get the mana back, and you still have the mana open for Violet's discard effect off of heart talk.
Yep.
Nuts. Absolutely insane.
You get switch acceleration off the bat just with cards like this and heart talk, which obviously is in the mini set, but helps Violet out a ton.
Yep.
But having this as like your, I don't know, it reminds you of like 40 Thieves, where it's just like instant, boom, you hit it, you put it into play, and then you're ready to go.
At its worst, it's just a 3-for-1 because you get the atoms back.
Yep. Also,
like, it did not have to add back 2 atoms. Like, it did not have to do that.
Violet also needed like another Resonator in her lineup so that her Brave Force could have something to target, which is the buff that gives +6/+6 barrier and swiftness. A flying 3/4 is kind of exactly what you want for to hit with that, because then you have flying barrier and swiftness, which is a great hit them in the face tool. Yeah,
this thing just pushes damage, makes you consistent, refuels you. Like, what else do you say about this card?
I don't know. It's good.
Really good. So, this is number 3 because if you're playing Violet, you play 4 of these cards, no exceptions.
Correct. And we think Violet's good.
Yep. If that wasn't obvious by us talking about Violet with fervor and passion.
Correct.
Now, what could be better than something like this?
What was that?
What could be better than a card like this?
Yeah, you know, a reprint, maybe, of a card that we've already had before.
Yeah. A really good card that we had before?
Yeah. Wow, is that green-white for 2? It's a chant? Oh no, what could it possibly be? Please don't be. Oh no, it's sealed under light.
This is number 13, AntiMagic, for Light and Wind.
To the contrary, it is not number 13 on our list, it is number 2.
Yes, unfortunate. Could have lined up perfectly, but whatever. Quick cast, cancel target spell. Flat out.
Simple and to the point.
Until you get to Seal 4, where you can pay Lightless to play this card. And at Seal 7, you pay Windless to play this card. So it is free.
It's probably never going to be free, but it's pretty often going to cost 1, and that's kind of nuts.
Yeah, 1 will cancel target spell has always been a crazy thing in this game. If you're playing Welser and you get to 10 stones, you just get infinite free cancels forever, which is nice.
Yeah, that's great. Also, we should probably talk about how, like, just cancels in general, like, I don't know, Otherworld Dreams got banned. That was a 1-will cancel, but that had a really bad downside sometimes.
Yep.
This is going to be a 1-will cancel. That doesn't have a bad downside. That doesn't seem very safe.
No, it doesn't.
But it's here.
But it's here. It is. The big thing is going to be whether or not games get to the point where you could be at Seal 4. Kind of similar thing with Witch of the Pointy Hat, where it's like, how easily do we think it's going to be to get to Seal 4? Do you think games are going to go along long enough? Do you think that, like, obviously Brad will get really good use out of this because he's easily able to get those knowledge counters, but is Brad going to be good enough to make AntiMagic worth running as a 4 of in that deck? There's a lot of ifs for this card.
Probably.
Well, yeah.
It's you run 4 of Seal of Wind and Light in that deck, so I think running 4 of this card makes sense too.
True, yeah. But either way, like at its worst, it's a 2-will cancel spell, which is still pretty much par for the course. Obviously, if you can cancel something fairly big, it's great. Are people playing big things? Not really.
A lot of cancel spells wind up getting worse as you go into the late game because people just have so much mana to play out everything, so that even one cancel might not be good enough. But having your cancel be free, though, kind of like Severing Winds is a good one. That's
also
reminiscent, where as you go into the later turns, the card gets better and better because it's more likely to be free. Oh. So, yeah.
So this card's designed to be pretty good, not gonna lie.
It's a green card.
It's also a light card. So there's one light card that did pretty well in this set.
Yeah, but it's sealed when in light, that's why.
Yeah. But so, we got a reprint of Seal that could be as powerful as Otherworld Dream, Severing Winds, and Faerie Spell. What could be better than that?
What about a really, really simple card? Like, really simple.
You mean like Eternal Wind?
Oh yeah, we got Eternal Wind here, which is our #1 pick. It is a green Chant Atom with Quick Cast that says recover a magic stone you control. And they do the same thing if you discard it with the Violet Atomic Automations effect.
Yep.
So Mike, why is this card so good? It does nothing. Right?
On the surface level, this card looks just like basically that wind arrow that Welser had in Saga Cluster Set 1, which I forget the name of. It has arrow somewhere in its name.
Magical arrow.
Thank you. But Eternal Wind is basically that. However, it's got that Atom Clause and the Atom Effect on the bottom when it's discarded by Violet, which means that play that I was talking about earlier, where you heart-to-heart talk, discard this with Violet's effect, get the stone back, play the Tiny Violet, go into next turn.
Let's slow it down a little bit. Heart-to-heart talk lets it gives you a 1 mana discount on Violet's front side effect.
Yep.
So it's now a 0 cost effect, and then you discard this card. So now you're getting +1 mat will whenever you're discarding this card via Violet's effect.
Yep. Then you stack the Tiny Violet on top of it to get this one back, so that you go into your next turn. You can tap either Tiny Violet or the free effect you're getting off of Violet with Heart-to-Heart Talk, because that is once per turn, not once during your turn only, which is gross.
Yep.
Either way, you get the Eternal Wind into the grave, recover a stone, and you have a stone up, a creature on board, a bunch of cards in hand because you haven't lost any tempo, any hand advantage off of this because you've been drawing the whole time.
Yep.
Like, we've looked at every single Atom. We want to make sure there was an Atom on this list because Violet we feel is going to be a tier 1 deck.
Yeah.
And we're 99% sure that this card is going to be the reason why.
Like, we loved Brave Force. We loved Dark Distinction, I think it's called, the red-black one.
Dark Prominence.
Dark Prominence. Yeah. Close enough.
Same thing.
But looking after all of those, we're just like, nope, we're pretty sure that this one, just being able to ramp and accelerate your game plan is what makes Violet really good. So this is why it's here. Yep.
We talked about, Scott and I talked about how good Heart-to-Heart Talk was in our last episode on the Rebirth of Legend, and this card just, I think this is quite possibly one of the best just general support cards we've ever seen for tying together one set, another set, the ruler from the set, and the super rare card from that set that synergizes with the ruler. Like, this is just a normal that just kind of does something.
This might be the first time that we have a normal at the top of our list.
Yeah, it's... Eternal Wind is nothing to joke about, and Violet is going to be nothing to joke about because of this thing.
So if you're worried about getting dunked on by Bahamut, this is a problem for that because it being an Atom and also being semi-free in its acceleration, it's a big deal.
Like you will find a Bahamut somewhere in the deck as you've drawn through your deck with Heart-to-Heart Talks. Like, fear this card.
There is not a lot of cards that do as much as Eternal Wind does for Violet. does for its deck. It's like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Maybe a card like the Oxathoth from 2 sets ago.
Yeah. Like, honestly, this card is just like, it's like one of the simplest effects I think we've ever had in a top 10 list. But the
Besides cancel magic stone, cancel target spell.
Yeah, besides that. No, but it's a simple effect, but the implications are insane with this thing.
Yep.
And with that being said, thank you guys for watching.
It's the end of the top 10. Surprise, surprise, Eternal Wind, #1 card of the set.
Yeah, so, caught me by surprise. When I first started looking at Violet support, I'm like, oh, this seems pretty interesting. And then as I saw more and more come out, I'm like, there's something here. Something dangerous.
So yeah, out of the new decks, we think the top one being Violet, then what are we thinking? We're thinking Olivia and Wolfgang are... Wolfgang and Brad. I guess all three of them have at least some, like, somewhere near the same level.
Yeah.
So we think they're all pretty powerful rulers, at least, which is very good for a new set.
Yeah, honestly, I'm very happy about that. I love the fact that we have a lot of sets where, you know, one ruler has the advantage out of all of them, and everyone else is kind of like, okay. But this seems really well balanced around these rulers. I appreciate the design space that went into them.
Yeah, it's a shame that White didn't get a ruler.
Yeah, just got a sword. But anyway,
so,
did we miss anything?
Appreciate you all. I don't think so.
I don't think we missed anything. Did we miss anything, guys? Let us know in the comments. Tell us why that white X card that destroys X number of entities is the best card of the set, so we can tell you.
Also, tell us why Avenger of Asmodeus is the best card in the set as well.
Oh, I can tell you why. He's Big Chunkus.
Yes, we need more Big Chunkuses in the game. Like, I Spy just doesn't understand.
I know. I'm going to put it into my grave. I'm going to Dance of Shadows it before the trigger happens. It's going to come into play, and I'm going to swing for 10k.
And then my opponent's going to be like, you did it. And then shake my hand. Everyone's going to go crazy.
Yep.
Fireworks.
If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Minha. I will say that.
True. Okay.
I feel something coming on from there. I feel like, no, Min's going to do the thing where he's just going to have, he's going to be playing Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to draw all 3 pieces of the Avenger. He's going to turn 1, produce 2 green, play all 3 of them, and then do it.
Damn, I thought Minha was going to play Olivia, but just always let it be random, just not care about...
Oh, that's even better. Alright, guys.
All right.
Well, thanks again for tuning in. This has been Mike.
And Joe.
From Deep Wood Force of Will.
We're always going to be here, I guess.
Always. Probably. Yes, always.
Thank you all for watching.
Bye.